Hey, what's going on? My name is Alex with Portland Event Films, and today I'm going to talk to you about these audio recorders that I have. I have the Zoom F3 that I picked up a couple weeks ago, and then I have the Zoom F6, which I've been using for about a year and a half now. I'm going to let you kind of know my experiences with each one and who I recommend each one for. The main differences between these two recorders is the ability to do time code internally, externally, the battery options, and the amount of inputs that you need. Both of these recorders can accept a line level, a mic level, and a mic level with phantom power for all 6 of these and on both of these channels here too. So that's how they are the same. What is different though is this one actually you can control the amount of gain on each one. So if you're getting a signal from a band and it's above the threshold, usually with 32-bit flow audio, it's, you have a lot of dynamic range, but sometimes you're getting a signal from a DJ or a band and it's just way too high. So you do need to have a little bit of control to bring it within the range. Here, you don't have the ability to do that. You can do that internally, but not externally if you want to, change it down and add or remove gain just a little bit. So that is one of the main features. 2 is the amount of inputs. Me personally, I don't have a lot of events where I need to use all 6, but you can see here, I have Phantom Power 1, Phantom Power 2 from DJ. So that way, this one is set internally to have Phantom Power. Actually, these 2 are. This is a line level from a DJ, and so sometimes I'll just keep each one, so that way I don't have to go in the menu and change each time. Now, when it comes to powering these, you can see here I have a big battery on the back, and then I also have internal batteries too as well. This one here, you have internal batteries. You can't put an external battery in it, but you can also power off of the USB-C here. So if you want to plug it into a computer or plug it into a wall outlet, you can power that via the USB-C. Now, both of these also can be used as an audio interface. So you can plug in your microphones, bring in like a shotgun microphone. If you're going to do like a podcast, you can record into it internally. Then through the USB-C, you can send that audio into a computer. So if you want to record into a DAW, into a Zoom meeting, however you want to do that on the computer, you can record in here internally and then send that signal out almost as a stereo signal to your computer. You can't do individual tracks, but it will give you a stereo out into your computer. So who do I recommend each one of these for? The way I look at it, corporate videographer, wedding filmmaker. Most of the times at weddings, we're getting a feed from a DJ booth, so you usually only need 1 channel, or if you want to record in stereo, you can get 2 different channels here, and that's pretty much all you need for weddings. When I do corporate and I'm miking up a bunch of different people, I want to have each microphone going into each individual channel. I want to have fine control over it. And I like to use time code. And so what you can do is you can go in, you could jam sync the time code and remove this if you want, but I like to keep this just permanently on here all the time, so that way I can sync this to all my different cameras. That way in post, it's really easy to do. So when I'm doing a ceremony, I like to use this one because I usually have about 4 different cameras. I also use the Tentacle Sync log packs. So instead of having to go through and manually sync everything up, I just sync it via time code. Time code is a love-hate because you have to make sure to sync everything or else it's off. But when it comes to using multiple cameras, multiple audio sources, I much rather use time code. It just makes my life really easy. Now, the biggest thing with both of these recorders is the ability to record 32-bit flow audio. So to give you kind of an example, is most audio tracks are about here, and 32-bit flow, your dynamic range is somewhere in this area. Outside of a loud band signal, somebody talking on the microphone, doesn't matter if they're screaming on it, shouting on it, or they're really, really quiet, the noise floor is so low and you have that nice audio quality in the middle. So that way, if you need to bring down the peaks or if you need to give a little bit more gain, it was recorded quite low, just the noise floor and the amount of dynamic range you have is amazing, especially when you're doing weddings. You know, most of the times when I'm recording with this, I plug in the recorder, plug it in, set record, and just set it and forget it. And I don't have to worry about, you know, setting the right levels, you know, worrying about peaking or if it's too quiet. So as soon as I moved to 32-bit flow audio, was amazing. It's made my editing process a lot easier, and I don't have to worry, you know, about those peaks and those valleys. I just know that I'm going to have enough room, depending on the person that's speaking in the microphone and being sent to this recorder. So in here we have a full-size SD card, but in this one we have a micro SD card in this one. Now both of these I suggest putting in like a 64 gigabyte card or a 128 gigabyte card. Somebody asked us like, why do you need that much space? That's gonna last you forever. When I'm doing a series of wedding films, I'm filming, you know, a wedding every single weekend. And it usually takes me anywhere between 6 weeks to 2 months to finish a wedding film. And I want to make sure that I can leave those audio tracks on those cards. I don't have to delete them. You know, I want to make sure the wedding video is done before I delete the audio tracks off that card. And there's times where I'd be working on a project, and if a audio file I forgot to copy it over, it gets corrupted. I can go back to the recorder. I still have the audio. Hasn't happened to me that much, but I've had like 1 or 2 times where I forgot to copy over the audio. I went back to the card and the audio was still on there. So you really can't do that when you only have, you know, an 8 or 16 gigabyte card. And that's why I suggest putting something there like a 64 or 120 bit card. So that way you can keep the audio, and it's just a good way to back everything up. So in conclusion, if you're doing some corporate stuff and time code is important to you where you can jam in time code, I would go with something like the F6. But if you're a wedding filmmaker, this is going to be more ideally for you. You can still have one channel here for the audio, and then if you really want, you could jam sync time code into the second channel. But most people aren't going to want to do time code for their weddings. Me personally, I like to do it. So corporate commercials, I'm going to suggest this recorder, but if you're a wedding filmmaker, this is more than adequate, and it is one of my favorite recorders. I love how small this is. I can take it on the back, I can put a cord, and I can tape it to like a speaker stand, and it's just small and compact. You can even put this on like a belt loop. So I highly recommend this recorder. I'm probably going to start using this more now for my weddings and this, just because of the form factor. So if you guys have any more questions, my name is Alex with Portland Event Films. Please leave them in the comments. Thank you.